Have you heard of BOA? So probably like you, I've been skiing for quite some years. I'm kind of wedded to the whole ski buckle thing. It's part of the hassle of getting ready in the morning. I love all that hassle. Or do I love all that hassle? Or have we all been secretly envying the snowboarders relaxing on the snow, clicking away at that fancy looking dial on their super comfy boots as it gently wraps their boot around their foot and their leg? And I've started seeing it appear on ski boots. It started with one, and now there's two. Because I've got questions about this, BOA, to see whether it's as good as they say it is. I mean, ski boots have barely changed in the 20 years that I've been publishing in the Snow magazine. Suddenly, this big change of removing the buckle and putting a BOA fit system on is a huge advancement. There's a price to pay. There is a premium associated with getting a ski boot with BOA in it. I want to know, am I going to notice the difference if I buy a ski boot that's got BOA in it rather than just two clasps like I'm used to? So BOA started in 2001 and revolutionised performance gear by providing a fast, precise and effortless fit. Originally designed for snowboarding boots, BOA's patented system has expanded to over 300 global brand partners, including products for cycling, biking, golf and even workwear. They say it's all about helping athletes and outdoor enthusiasts and workers perform at their very best. And their lifetime guarantee reflects the dedication to quality. Their aim? To make the best gear even better. So as skiers, are we ready to say goodbye to our buckles? And are manufacturers taking on BOA? Today I'm in Denver and I'm going to be meeting Brenna Sullivan, Consumer Marketing Manager for BOA, and Dan Feeney, VP of Innovation and Development, to get under the skin of exactly what's going on at BOA and to see how it got to this stage and how that transition from snowboard boots to ski boots has happened. So I'm here with Dan Feeney, VP of Innovation and Development. Nice to see you.
Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And so we're here in this lab. Yeah. And it is a lab surrounded by these amazing 3D cameras. Maybe just tell us a little about what goes on here.
So we built this lab with the fundamental idea that you improve fit, you improve performance, and you should be able to measure that. We also go out onto the mountains and we test our products. The way we think about it is there are fundamental body movements that are inherent in every activity we do. So that might be gait, whether you're running, walking, it could be lateral aggressive movements. What we find is the more aggressive the movement, the more fit matters, which is probably not that surprising.
Yeah.
So for skiing, for example, when you're on really extreme edge angles or you're on a really steep slope, maybe icy slope, and you're trying to hold an edge, not chatter, that's where we break those turns down and say, here are the specific variables that are very influenced by fit, and here's what a better fit means. For example, when you're starting a turn, if you can deliver more force into the ground, you can transfer more power from your body to the ski, that's obviously better. If you can do it with more stability instead of having your skis chatter, that's also really good. But if you can do that over the course of a long day, you're probably going to even ski better by the end of the day because you haven't inhibited blood flow, you have better circulation because you're not clamping it down with a belt. So when we think about this space, like, as you said, we've got these cameras that measure force, or excuse me, the treadmill measures force, the cameras that measure motion. We put all of that together and we understand at the very, very micro level how force travels through your body. And then from there, we have certain ideas that we've proven out that better fit can make that more efficient.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you've been in snowboard boots for absolutely ages. Yeah. And then I was interested to know how that transition came to ski boots. Was it just a case of plonk it off there and plonk it on there?
If only it was that easy. No, I mean, at the end of the day, we thought, hey, what can we do that's really cool in snowboard boots? Is in a really puffy, big boot design.
Yeah.
We can lock down the fit, which I think is why a lot of early riders adopted us. But doing that then on a plastic boot in alpine skiing is a really different challenge. Yeah. So we started down this path, honestly, 2015, 2016, where we started thinking, what would it even take to effectively close that boot? And then secondarily, how can we provide the wrap, which is really where we think there's a big advantage, similar to what you're seeing in some of the snowboard boots, but on alpine boots, not just closing it, but effectively making it fit better.
Did you have to go to them first and say, look, if we did this, what do you think? Or did you just go ahead and do it and then take it to them and say, we've done this?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I would say the truth is somewhere in the middle. Yeah. At the end of the day, what we try to do at BOA is have a really good idea of what we're going to do, what works and what doesn't before we approach any of our brand partners. Because it gets really messy if we come up with a half thought out idea.
Yeah.
So where we ended up going in alpine was we had a really good idea of what could work.
Yeah.
We brought that to brands. We ended up having the 4 brands we launched with in 2023. And then we co-developed with them from, we'll say 2018 until those brands actually launched.
Yeah.
So Atomic, Solomon, K2, and Fisher. They saw the early prototypes,
Yeah.
but they also saw what the vision could be about, hey, as we think about making this dial more robust, as we think about some of the features, like in a commercial boot, we want the dial, if it hits a tree, for example,
Yeah.
pop off so you can
Yeah.
pop it right back
Yeah.
on instead of breaking. That's at that point when we started collaborating with them and developing with them.
And were they nervous? Were they receptive to it? And did they latch onto it quickly, or?
I mean, the first meeting's very skeptical, right?
Right,
So,
okay.
I mean, positively skeptical.
Yeah.
The thing that changed everyone's mind was skiing a prototype.
Okay.
So it was when they got to actually feel what the boot could feel like, then it was like, hey, this actually isn't even just a story. This feels inherently different. I feel like I can ski better.
Right.
No pressure points, but still perform better. Heck yeah, let's go for it.
Oh, wow.
And, I mean, the amount of times I've buckled my wife's buckles by and we're like both leveraging it.
Yeah.
She could dial in effortlessly, then locking her heel in, still feeling like she can have really great edge control. That is the kind of stuff that I think convinces people really quickly.
Yeah. And you're the Rolls Royce of this, aren't you? I mean, in the end of that, you know, it's BOA or nothing, really, isn't it?
I mean, the thing is, we obsess about fit,
Yeah.
right? And so at the end of the day, fit and performance is what drives us. And that's why we built the slab.
Yeah.
That's why our product development teams develop these products. So it was a huge journey from snowboard to where we were in Alpine. I mean, an entirely new system, the dial, the laces, the guides, they're all fundamentally different from anything we'd ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were totaling up the hours across all the different people, it was over 50,000 hours went into the development of the system. And then the number of days we tested on the mountain, I cannot remember off the top of my head, but insane amounts of days where we were having really high level skiers test different iterations of it, do some things where we wanted to push the limits of it in really cold temperatures. All of that went into it. And like I said, honestly, the journey we were thinking about in 2015, we made the decision in 2018 to really go.
Okay.
But we didn't bring anything to the market until 2023.
Yeah.
So it was a very long,
Yeah.
pretty far difference from snowboard to where we ended up in Alpine.
And is there a change in the plastics of the ski boots as well? Does that have to alter it so that it's a bit more malleable for the system to work?
No, so actually that's the cool thing. So I mean, even some of the testing we've done on World Cup race boots, we can take an incredibly stiff boot like that and we can still close it. The thing that changes is how the boot wraps rather than just deforming at the 2 points of the buckles, right? So the fact that the parts of the shell can slide or the cuff can slide over top of each other, that's the difference. And so you probably have some real small changes where as you clamp down, you're going to deform plastic. But in general, like they're not using a different type of plastic.
Yeah. And because the micro adjustment is the thing, isn't it? With our buckles, I know we always had you can kind of twist it and make a very small adjustment, but it's not quite small enough, is it? But with BOA, you've got that very, very incremental, tiny adjustment, haven't you, each time? And that goes both ways, does it? You have to get in and out.
Yep, it goes both directions.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you ski throughout the day, like it gets warmer or if a storm rolls in, that changes the properties of the boot, the liner. And then as you've just been skiing, your foot will change shape.
Yeah.
So the ability to dial in at less than a millimeter with each turn is really important, I think, to a skier.
And I'm guessing you're seeing from a consumer's perspective quite a hunger or a thirst for that. Wow, this is fun. Because let's face it, we're gear geeks. Like people in ski are gear geeks. So they love a bit of gear. So you must see some passion coming from that side.
We do. And I mean, there has been a great reception to the BOA system on ski boots. There are still haters. And one of the coolest things that I like, though, is when somebody that's a skeptic gets to try it. Because to me, that's even more when somebody's predisposed to liking it, that's cool. Get it on their foot, they feel the difference and they're really excited. But I will read the ski forums, I'll go into the ski shops. And when I hear somebody that's skeptical, but they try it and they say, wow, I didn't expect, for example, a cuff to kind of smoothen out my flex profile or the shell to be able to wrap my foot but still lock me in. That's when I get really excited personally.
And we've talked a lot about performance and professional skiers, recreational skiers, because that's probably who I represent, are the people that are just the general Joe dogs on the street. Do you feel that it makes enough difference for them?
I think absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so typically what we do is we'll test at the most pinnacle of the sport, but then as that gets developed with those pinnacle athletes, of course it will go down. And so as you're seeing the brands bring different flex points in, so you have some of the brands below 100 flex point here. I think those consumers are loving the ability for the micro adjustability. Honestly, I think most people that are in, an earlier lower flex boot, they probably are skiing a few times a year. And so to your point, like they might not have exactly the buckle system that they want that gets them to the fit they need. And I think the ability for them to get in something that can wrap, lock their heel, but not cause pain is incredibly helpful.
So once you got into on snow testing, after all the work that had gone on here before you even got on the snow, did you get any big surprises when you got out there?
Well, we do have one really cool video of an internal employee. We were doing durability testing.
Yeah.
He went off a reasonable jump. He landed and tomahawked 3 or 4 times. The system was fine.
Okay.
You know, from an employee perspective, we had to look at if his insurance premium was high. Oh, that, but no, that was really it. You know, I think we did some really early testing with Benny Reich, multi-time Olympian. So because that went well, and he obviously an Olympic athlete, they know if something feels better, and he was like, I know this is going to change ski boots. We were pretty darn confident it would.
Yeah.
When we went from a scientific perspective, there's not a lot of studies done on snow.
Yeah.
So for us, we're kind of pioneering how we take like the Olympic level type studies and bring them to a really high end consumer. Still an elite athlete, but not necessarily an Olympian. So for us, there was definitely a learning experience figuring out how to test that way. It's a lot of fun.
Am I able to get excited about the idea of the innovation in the helmet becoming more of a wrap? At the moment, it feels a little on the rudimentary side.
Yeah, you know, not sharing too much. This is something we're actively working on.
Okay.
And I think applying those principles that we talked about with wrap to the head is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Helmets are saving lives, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, having a better fit around your head and reduce pressure points, but holding the helmet on your head is critical. And that's something that we're really digging into. And you'll see some products coming in the market the next few years.
And from a aesthetics point of view, because sport is cool, isn't it? All sports are cool in their own right. Were the ski manufacturers sort of saying, look, we're okay with this, but this has got to look great on our boots?
Yeah.
You know, because no one's going to want to buy a Salomon boot or a K2 boot or whatever. If the boot looks great and then it's got this manky big knob on the side of it, it's got to look great.
Oh, aesthetics are critical. I mean, our teams are working hand in hand with the development teams that are partners to make the end product not only perform, not only fit, but they've got to look good.
Yeah.
And so when you look at some of the color hits that the different brands have done, there are some really great executions.
Yeah.
And we find that equally critical because, yeah, when people go into a boot shop, their first thing they're going to see is how the boot looks and how it lays out. And we want incredible integration just to make sure that it's just seamless. It is meant to be. Form follows function. And so I think with that, we can do a lot of really cool things to indicate that better fit is going to drive from the BOA die.
Yeah.
With skiing, it's cool because you improve performance, you don't have pain, and it's just a recipe that people can feel.
Do you envisage a situation where buckles are gone entirely? We'll never see a buckle.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think, I don't think we want to kill buckles. I think there are inherent limitations to buckles. So I think, like, I have seen lots of different innovation, and to your point, ways that people are trying to use buckles could be interesting. But I think at the end of the day, we've got a novel solution that will be a stepwise improvement.
Yeah.
You know, brands aren't abandoning them right now, but the overwhelming feedback is that BOA is dialing in better.
All right, so we're here with Brenna Sullivan. You've got these incredible premises. It feels like there's an absolute DNA here, isn't there? Everywhere I look, there's products. You've created almost like your own museum style environment for people to work in.
Definitely. We've touched so many industries over the last 2 decades and worked with so many amazing brands and athletes. And it's great to be able to showcase some of the coolest products and people that we've gotten to work with.
You must have an understanding of how wedded to buckles the industry was. And your job at the end of the day was to convert not just the manufacturer end, but also the consumer as well.
It's definitely a big job. People have been buckling those ski boots for years, and we knew that there would be a challenge to bring a new system to the table, especially in such a high durability environment. But we also knew that we had a really clear value statement. We came into this knowing how big of an impact it can make for skiers in terms of that reduction of pressure that I'm sure you talked about a ton with Dan, as well as the performance advantages. So I think coming in really knowing what the value was going to be for just every level of skier on the mountain made us pretty confident in how well the system would be received.
Yeah. And the other thing that's fascinating, and I guess probably hadn't impacted me until I arrived here, is the aesthetics. You really do get the fact that the manufacturers of the shoe, the boot, whatever it is that you're fitting this onto, have spent a ton of cash on making their thing look great. And you really empathize with that, don't you?
Definitely. We take collaborative development super seriously, and that's both in what the BOA Fit system can bring performance-wise and benefits-wise, but also in terms of aesthetic integration. We want to make sure that this looks like a cohesive part of a line. We are a part of what brands are creating, and we want to be a really good partner to them, and UX and the visuals are a big part of that too. And I think it's also really fun for us to play with, see all the different ways we can take. At the end of the day, it's a dial lacing guide, but there's so many iterations of what that can look like, which is really exciting for the team.
Yeah. And obviously someone like me, I'm here very much from a ski perspective, but I've seen all manner of sports here, you know, from athletics and basketball to golf but workwear is quite a big thing for you, isn't it? You were saying that's almost like a foundation sort of thing.
It is. It's a big part of our business. It started in Northern Europe, and I think as we get more and more critical on what a safe work environment is, and what kind of regulations are in place, and how to just make sure that people have the healthiest, longest careers they can with as minimal impact because of their footwear. That's somewhere BOA can really shine. You know, I think it's another one of these spaces like skiing where maybe we took the negatives, the downsides, the pains as like, oh, it's inevitable. In order to ski well, you're going to need to be in pain. And in order to be able to work a 12-hour work day in a steel toe boot, like, you're just going to have blisters. But we're trying to readdress that and say, no, maybe you could actually, by having a better fit, you can actually have a better performance instead of having that tight fit working against your performance. So we're really lucky that we started skiing. We picked our brand partners that we'd worked with previously in other sports. So K2 was one of our first snowboard partners, and they were also one of our first ski partners. So we had this really deep collaboration. And by the time we were coming to market, they were also really excited to talk about this as a major innovation. You know, BOA is so much smaller than all of our brand partners. So we really try to speak with them. It is a collaborative development, and BOA is now a piece of their product. So we want to be a part of their story. And for me, a lot of it is direct communications, but it's also helping them communicate their story better when they have such a big voice in retail and to the consumer directly.
And I mean, I've been working in the ski for about 20 years. I don't remember such a big step change.
The amount that we've been able to gain trust in the system and also have people be willing to take that chance to put it on their foot and have that moment that our brand partners talk about, that our realists talk about, and the consumers talk about is really amazing. I think we surprised ourselves on how quickly the pickup happened.
So what a visit that's been. What's really interesting today was seeing the innovation in there, the countless thousands of hours of work that's going into making this product absolutely fantastic, and the clear dedication to the fact that it has to integrate with the manufacturer's boot. This isn't just a case of bolting on an accessory onto something else. They totally understand that they've got to make this integral. They've got to make it aesthetically fit with the brand. Every time. They accept absolutely no less here. The relationship is clearly absolutely core to what they're doing here at BOA. The design of the product, the operation of the product from a consumer perspective, and the reliability of that is absolutely top of their agenda. Everything about the product has to be 100% for them in order to go ahead with it. So that's it for today. That's everything that you could possibly want to know about BOA. If you've got any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below, and we'll make sure you get you an answer. For me, when I go to get my next ski boots, I'm looking for BOA.